Okay, my country is France, and the question of who rules on paper in France kind of starts with the Third and Fourth Republics. That kind of went from the 1800s up to the end of World War II, and they had a really weak parliament, or a really weak presidency. I'm sorry, and the parliament I guess was weak as well because due to having so many political parties, they could never really agree on anything, and so they really got nothing done. They couldn't form coalitions or anything. So then the Fifth Republic was established, and in '58, and the idea was to give the president a lot more power, and they made constitutional revisions to make sure that that was the case. Kind of gave him the power to he could dissolve parliament, so like get them out of the way, so that he could make stuff happen. Basically, he also was in control of the military, so Parliament couldn't make any more bad decisions with their military like they did in like World War I and World War II, where they really both ended poorly for them. Uh, and then essentially, I mean, everybody then answered to the president, the executive, with these uh, with these revisions. The executive became the most powerful branch of the French government. Really has power over almost everything. The only real power the legislative has now is like locally, where like one party will be like in control in one small like one small area. They'll be in control, so they won't have any really opposition. So they can do things in their interests, but on the national level, still kind of the same deal as the Third and Fourth Republics. They lack the ability to form coalitions because there's so many different political parties with different I guess agendas, you would say. So they really fail to agree and therefore get anything done. They do have 6 of the 9 seats in the executive council, so they do get to talk to the president on these laws, but ultimately the president doesn't have to listen to them at all. Um, so basically, the president and the executives are the ones who call the shots. They will hear out the parliament because they have the parliament is they're elected by the people, so they're representing what the people around the country want. But in the end, the president is granted by the Constitution the most power. So that brings up the subject of who really rules. And the short answer is the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is extremely there's a large network of bureaucracy in France. A lot of people even complain about it or make jokes about it, about how big it is. 24% of the national GDP is directed or allocated to them, just to running them. 1 in 5 people work for their civil service, which is essentially they're working for the government. Uh, they provide health care, they provide law enforcement, they're in charge of education, so that all of this stuff is free, and so they control what uh, a lot of things that are like privatized in some other countries. Um, they have information on like every single citizen because they also control citizenship and immigration and stuff like that, and they have a lot of influence over laws and regulations, and they also enforce it. So, I mean, really, on a day-to-day basis, they do the most of any branch or part of the government as far as running the country, uh, and they have a lot of influence over French people's lives, and they provide a lot for them. So, uh, and they're also supported by the majority of the population. They do complain about like how extensive it is and how complicated it can be, but the majority like them. So they they normally retain the support of the president because he doesn't want to piss the people off, and the military won't intervene. So and they won't get voted out because the representatives don't want to do something that the people of France don't want. So